Welcome to another episode of Dr. James Beckett Sports Card Insights. I'm here with Rich Klein. As you can see from the episode title, we're going to talk about a couple of upcoming shows. I always desire to have evergreen and timeless issues, and yet sometimes when something's coming up, it's worth moving it out there and giving people a chance to participate in a show that could be fun and interesting. And we'll generalize about what makes a good show and why I think those shows are worthy of consideration if you're in this area. I've got other sponsors too. Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication, ComC, Burbank Sports Cards, Mike Stadium Sports Cards, Heritage Auctions, Huggins & Scott Auctions, Panini, Topps, and Upper Deck. But the subject today is, we're going to talk about a couple of shows. So welcome, Rich.
Thanks, Jim.
Even though you're here and you've got your very, very popular Adat Chaverim synagogue show that is a great benefit and lots of fun for those who come. 2 weeks before, Kyle Robertson has a show that's in actually close by. It's very, very close by where you work. So let's talk about Kyle Robertson's show in the Allen area, suburb of Dallas first. And what's your take on that?
It's a great location, and not just because my ComC office is within walking distance of that show.
Can you see it out the window?
No, I can't see it out the window.
Okay.
I have a windowless office.
Okay.
So I can't see anything other than people walk by out of my office. But it's about about 8 to 10 minute walk. You basically just cross a street called Bethany in Allen, and I'm at the convention center. And as we've talked about, our ComC office is on the other side of the road.
Right.
So it's really close. It's a brand new building, maybe 1 to 2 years old at the most. And it's bigger than when you went to the Frisco show in April. It's huge.
Is this the first show that's been held there?
Yes.
And so did you think Kyle got some, again, just you're a promoter now. I've very, very limited ancient experience as a promoter, but getting the room at a good price and having the hotel or the convention center really want you to be there is a big part of it. So has he got a good deal?
He's got a good deal. We have a mutual friend and he helped secure the room at a reasonable price. They went to the room and they asked what the slow weekends were. And this was a slow weekend for the convention center. So they were able to get the convention center at a good price. And they got a good room rate of $99 per night. And you can walk to the show from a Marriott hotel right next door that's pretty much brand new. I mean, talk about the type of show you would want to be at. And I'm not saying that because we just came back from the National. But it's really amazing that you could go to a big show, walk to the show from your hotel room, have a reasonable rate. And you visited me at the office. There's tons of places you can walk to eat. You don't even have to get in your car once you're there. You've got Mi Cocina, you've got Brio's, you've got P.F. Chang's, you've got Cheesecake Factory, Village Burger Bar, and a couple other places to eat there that you can literally walk to right across the street. So skipping the show, it's just a nice, convenient location.
Unfortunately, Rich, you're going to convince people not to go to the show, but to go to the restaurants that are nearby. But Kyle has lined up a pretty strong roster of regional or even national dealers. He's got a lot of tables sold. That ought to be a big component of draw for people in this area. Dallas is a good area. How did he talk these dealers into coming down here?
Well, if you have reasonable table rates, and I believe the table rate was something like $150, so that's $50 a day for a big nationally promoted show with what I call the right type of guests for a show. And what I mean by that is players with regional interest that might draw fans that, hey, this is kind of fun. This reminds me of 15, 20 years ago when I was collecting. And, the players such as I'm just going to use a name like Benji Gill off the top of my head, or Mickey Tettleton. And I know there are Benji Gill's part of a package where you can get 3 different players for $10 for the autographs. And that's pretty cool that it's not costing you very much to get an autograph.
And at that price, the autograph guests are not in any way competing with the dealers who are there to sell their wares, sell their cards, sell their memorabilia.
Exactly. And, and as I said, to me, it's a good way to promote our upcoming Adat Chaverim show, which will be Labor Day weekend, Sunday and Monday. And I know you've been there and you have a blast every time you go there.
It's a lot of fun.
And one thing, that show is very different because I try to keep it low key. It's really a show run for collectors because and this is a Texas state law issue, nonprofits such as us are not allowed to have more than 2 raffles a year. So one of our former Brotherhood presidents remembered a 90s dealer who would do a grab bag with cards and a prize slip inside every bag. He says, why don't we do that?
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. Yeah.
Well, I can assure you everybody wins. I have actually been a winner. I love going out there and seeing what you have. You have again, the Kyle show is going to be much, much larger. And I suppose more expensive as well. Your admission is $1.
Right. I think
and for that you get a whole bunch of cards and a prize slip and all that stuff. So it's very different. But how is Is Kyle's show attempting to be one of the bigger shows we've had in a while?
It's attempting to be the biggest show we've probably had since the '94 Southwest National that the late Wanda Marcus ran, when we were trying a concept in the early '90s of having, in a sense, regional nationals, because the national, just like today, was bursting at the seam and you couldn't get everybody in. So why not have regional nationals to get some of the people in who can't get tables at the national, or in those days couldn't get tables at the national? Well,
I talked to Kyle a couple of weeks ago about, he was coming down the home stretch for his show, and we just had a short chat about promoting it. And I just told him, any efforts and energy he puts into making this show successful this August, if he could be establishing a good place, like you said, near your office, and a good weekend when there's not a lot of other things going on, he maybe has a chance to get something on the show circuit for dealers to be here in mid-August. Admittedly, it's hot if you're outside, but this is very air conditioned. And so those promotion efforts to have the regional aspect, because Dallas is a reasonably prosperous area and can sustain a show of that type. Your show is twice a year, which I think people probably would like to have it every week.
If they're getting free cards, they'd love to have it every week. However, the psychic energy involved in running that show means A, it's twice a year, but B, my good friend Mark McRae, our good friend Mark McRae, he runs a nonprofit show in San Francisco for the I believe a church in San Leonardo. And he told me, you can do once, you can do twice. No more than twice a year for a nonprofit show.
Yeah. Well, you have teammates. I mean, it seems like you have pleasant, brothers from your synagogue working the table outside, and they're nice guys, and just sitting around probably a million cards, whatever it is.
Well, it's pretty. We have a storage unit now, which is something we never anticipated, but that it's an outgrowth of how successful we've been at getting items. We got a donation last Christmas of 650,000 cards. I've had other donations come in, and my office is full is like a subsidiary of the storage unit, because I have currently about 200,000 cards in my office.
Well, we have sponsors that are card company sponsors, Panini, Topps, and Upper Deck. I know you've gotten some great support from Panini because they're local, and we know a lot of those guys. But any other noteworthy? I mean, what have you gotten from Panini that would make somebody say, "Hey, I want some of that"?
Panini's really, they're almost in a sense our unofficial corporate sponsor.
Okay.
Where every time, when I saw one of the Panini people at the National, and I said, I'm sending you an email. He goes, your show's coming up? I said, yes. He goes, okay, never mind. Never mind. I know it's coming. Okay. And it's one of the list of about 15 emails I still have to get out from the National. But it's so Panini always makes sure we have really nice stuff. They send us boxes last year.
And you use them as prizes, or
it depends what it is. Like last year, we got these sample packs for some product they were doing.
Right.
Well, as it turned out, some of the cards had book value of $40, $50, $60. So it's like, okay, the really expensive ones with LeBron or Shaq, those will be prizes. And then let's say 95 out of the 100 became take one at the door. So people were getting really good packs for nothing when they came in the door.
Well, let me tell you about my experience when I go to your show. I'm actually going to go to Kyle's show as well. I'll probably pop in perhaps on Saturday. My wife is actually having a grandchild shower here.
She's way too young to have grandchildren.
Well, that's I agree, but that's going to be. She's very excited nonetheless. But I apparently will be given instructions to make myself scarce. Now I'm going to be punished, I guess, by having to go to the card show. So throw me in that briar patch. So I'll be out there probably on Saturday, and I like to snoop around and see old friends and see what's for sale. I still have a little bit of the cataloging and pricing DNA in me. I don't always buy cards when I go to shows, but it's fun to look. And if I see something, I might. But I think that'll be fun. And then of course I will obviously be at your show. Generally I go after church on Sunday. This one is usually it's.
March is always the first Sunday of Plano spring break, and then Labor Day Sunday and Monday.
But I don't usually go Monday. Not that things would be picked over, because it's not picked over. But I'll go Sunday after church, and there's some people I see each time at your show and enjoy connecting with them. And can I give the listeners a tip?
Sure.
I admit myself generally 20 times.
Okay. Well, what we do is
I get 20 admissions, which I think I'm not the only one that does that.
No.
So that means I get 20 prize bags, and it's kind of fun to see what you get. And it's a donation. It feels bad getting a donation that is worth more than what you donated.
That's okay, because everything there's a donation. And don't feel bad. The first person who comes to the show, we always know we're off to a good start. This nice man named John usually the last 3 or 4 shows has begun by buying 50 bags. So he's actually
Are you challenging me, Rich?
No, I'm just pointing out that don't feel bad about 20 he admits, because this guy starts with 50 and then usually adds another 50 or so.
Well, that's setting a new standard here. So, and all the money, pretty much all the money. I mean, it's in the fellowship hall of your synagogue.
Yeah, so there's no charge for the room.
Rent. You've got volunteers, so every dollar is going to your. And you did.
We usually
Katrina. You had a Katrina initiative at one time.
We had a Katrina fund one year. The late Marshall Sosin, who was amazing at the front desk, he would keep track of hour by hour of how people were coming in. And he separated all the Katrina money when we did that. We had. It was like $600 we raised for Katrina, on top of what we did for ourselves. And, we don't have any administrative costs. So every penny we take in, usually the full money goes we save that money, we give it to Jewish Family Services. And what they do is at the holiday time, they give everybody gift cards to go to basically go shopping when they're not doing well. And then the spring money, we use that money as scholarships to help send kids to summer camp.
We are out of time, Rich, but let me just say to recap.
Can I give the address of the synagogue?
You can, yes.
Okay, it's 6300 Independence Parkway, Plano, Texas, 75023, in the northeast corner of Spring Creek and Independence, and it's in the shopping mall. We do not yet have a separate building, so it's in the shopping center, so don't be surprised if you see other businesses within the...
Okay, well, it doesn't look like what I think a typical synagogue would look like, but it's very friendly and easily accessible. But my last point was going to be, for Kyle's show, there are going to be people dealers coming from around outside the area. That's certainly something worth considering. For Rich's show, I'm giving it my highest recommendation, except I'm not recommending that you jump on a plane to come. But if you're within driving distance, I think you'd have a great time.
I think you can hop on a plane and support us, and that's fine. We'll ship your cards back to you.
Why don't they just send you the money for the plane ticket?
I'll take that too.
But at any rate, it's a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to going in a few weeks, and it's becoming every 6-month staple on my show calendar. So again, thanks, Rich.
Thanks,
we'll
Jim.
be back in a couple days with another episode. And again, thanks for listening, everybody.
Is doing